In this video, I will share tips and tricks for Inteleon, how you can easily increase your damage numbers by a good amount and pretty much have 100k damage every single game. Super easily. I'm playing Face Stinger and Liquidation with a double glasses and spoon. First, for the early game, of course, we have Water Gun, one of the best last hitting tools in the entire game. You can also play either Face Stinger or Acrobatics, but I feel like Face Stinger, if you're really good at Inteleon, is going to increase your damage by even more. We go in here with a tier 4 look and a Water Gun, try to get the last hit. Sadly, I surprisingly didn't get this one right here. And going back, and we always want to do a tier 4 look into Water Gun, because one tier 4 look will build up our passive. Our passive are these things under Inteleon, right? These are those blue diamonds, and from one tier 4 look we get one stack, and that makes our Water Gun crit 100%, which means that our Water Gun is the highest damage move in the entire early game. So going over it here, then in this last here, you see tier 4 look, make sure you don't basic attack after tier 4 look, otherwise you're going to lose your crit booster and your passive, so not very important. Again, here tier 4 look as well into Water Gun gets us an easy KO. So this Pokemon can both go towards laning phase and jungle. Of course, again, it has very good last hitting, but it can also be a sent to area Pokemon, because a lot of experience on Inteleon is going to result in a lot of damage throughout the entire game. Getting level 5 right here, and now it's very important. Every time you Face Stinger onto a wall, you get cooldown reduction onto your Face Stinger, and you also get 2 passive charges. So every time you Face Stinger, you fill up 2 of these blue circuits, which means your Water Gun will either crit, your basic attacks will crit, or your Liquidation is going to crit. So again, we always Face Stinger towards, and we just try to basic attack, get our move out, basic attack, basic attack. Acrobatics is a bit easier to play, but if you want to get the full potential of this Pokemon, I feel like Acrobatics is the way to go. But here you can see, a very easy kill, right? I do so much damage in this early game. I Face Stinger to the wall, I know this guy is going to run here, I basic attack, get rid of my blue circuits, basic attack, basic attack, basic attack. We instantly Face Stinger back to this wall to get 2 more passive stacks in, 1 more basic attack, and I'm using our last blue circle here with the Water Gun onto the Glaceon for an easy KO. Face Stinger to a wall again, and we just want to permanently Face Stinger to walls. I'm going to say Face Stinger throughout the entire game to really just get it into your brains to use it as often as you can. Face Stinger to the wall, basic attack, Face Stinger to the wall, basic attack, Water Gun, or just, whatever is up. Whatever your move is up. If your second move is, or your move is not up, then you can always just basic attack. And those basic attacks just deal so much damage over the entire game, and that's what makes Inteleon so strong right now. You can see already doing 1000 damage on crits right here with our basic attack on the boost auto attack. And I'm gonna go back to wall, keep on chasing, do auto aim, just a Liquidation, it is in range. He also gets taken down. You can also almost one-shot a lot of Pokemon in this game, but there's like a basic attack into Liquidation. You can see so much damage as well again. Zoroark getting almost one-shot, especially after level 13. Going up in with another Face Stinger, get another KO right here. You can see how much I'm just playing with my Face Stinger. I use my last passive stack onto the Glaceon. So we go in, right? We do 1 basic attack. We even fill 1 up as we here because we are kind of almost invisible. I see away the Bite-Toy. We have 1 more left. I'm going to use this for my Liquidation. And then we Face Stinger to a wall, we get 2 more stacks, we instantly eject button across the wall, get another 2 basic attacks out, and an easy KO. So you can see this Pokemon is absolutely ridiculous, right? I think it doesn't take much to see how OP Inteleon is, but you're still quite squishy, so you have to watch out. Like in this fight, I'm walking in, I was very confident, I Face Stinger to a wall to get 3 stacks, and then I come back and I take a lot of damage here from the Lucario, that rest arrives, and I'm actually go down. I was quite surprised by this. But you can see I was still consistently Face Stingering across walls. Also, when you respawn, Face Stinger to a wall, run around, Face Stinger to the next wall, and just keep on moving around the map much faster. It's much easier to farm with because you have so many more auto attacks that are empowered, right? Acrobatics has a much higher cooldown, which means less basic attacks will have the 100% crit in. So you can also do you can just farm easier with this. That's all I want to say. You just can farm much easier with Face Stinger because the cooldown is so low that you always have those stacks up. Defending the Reggie right here, again, always Face Stinger into a wall. If you hit an enemy, when an enemy blocks it, it goes on a full cooldown. So that's something you don't want to happen, if possibly can. Of course, you can still use Face Stinger also towards your opponents to just finish someone off, if they're low on HP, right? But in general, make sure you don't hit opponents with it, because then we're going to high cooldown. So we just use our passive stacks right here. Liquidation into basic attack, we Face Stinger forward again. 2 more basic attacks, eject button after this guy. Another KO. And the more you practice it, the more it's just going to feel absolutely amazing to play. And again, Face Stinger to a wall, basic attacks, use 1 Liquidation on the last crit thing. Always make sure you use Liquidation with a crit or with one of the blue crystals being up. Like, I don't know how to call them, the blue, whatever it is, Always make sure you use Liquidation when you have at least one of these things up. Otherwise, it would do much, much less damage. Not even just a bit less damage, much less damage. So it's very important to always use liquidation when you have one of your passive stacks up. Facing a 2-wall, have to be a bit careful right here. Again, we're very squishy, so if we overextend a tiny bit, of course, we can go down. We do a basic attack into liquidation, and Hooper almost goes down. We get your net move right here, but facing as well is very nice that you can actually get away from stuns. If you know you're about to get stunned, you can facing a to a wall, and you still get dragged. The facing can't really be cancelled. So if you're about to, you're about to get stunned by something, you're just facing a to a wall, you will still fly towards the wall, which is also amazing. I'm doing the objective now. Doing the objective as well, very important. We're going to keep on face steering towards the wall, face stinger. And by just doing this, I mean, it's just something you have to just practice a tiny bit to keep on face stinging to a wall. Just do it consistently. At some point, it will just be something you will do consistently without even thinking about it. And then you're going to increase your damage by an insane amount because all these basic attacks just stack up over the course of the game. If you do basic attack into liquidation, Hooper almost goes down, we get vision from a basic attack. Can't quite connect it sadly because I didn't want to get too far. Basic attack liquidation, facing her back to the left side, auto attack again, facing her to the wall, liquidation, auto attack, facing her to wall, auto attack, facing her to a wall, auto attack, or liquidation, whatever's up, right? If liquidation's up, we can only use liquidation. If our liquidation's on cooldown, we just use basic attacks, seeing if the Hooper comes back right here, but besides, it's probably better for the Hooper, not to return to this fight. And yeah, we run around again. Farm as much as we can if we find something. But Inteleon is a very good Pokemon to just fight your opponents because it does so much damage. First time I activate my Unite move here. And doing the Unite move, you kind of want to mainly basic attack if you can. You can also use liquidation if you can't get in basic attack range. Yeah, I'm trying to just run away from my opponents who chase me across the entire map. But you can see how much Face Stinger does, right? We gain so much distance as well compared to acrobatics. But of course, it's the good thing with acrobatics is that you get current reduction for your liquidation, right? That's the main part of acrobatics. Might still be also a good choice, but you can see how much distance we gain. One face stinger, another face stinger, and if I don't take a 1500 crit here, I could have face stinger to the next wall. But he crits me for 1500 damage as well. Bit of karma or a bit of justice against the other crit Pokemon. Otherwise, I could have face stinger to the next wall already as well again. So you can see how much mobility this has and how difficult it's actually to catch Inteleon. Respawn here, we're going to take a blue buff, head towards spot path to defend, again facing her to a wall, turn invisible, and we just, you see lots of enemies here, so we're facing her back. Almost ran into my death right here. And you always want to do a basic attack into liquidation onto an opponent if you can, and that almost one-shots them. It's absolutely insane how much damage this does. Basic attack liquidation, we're facing her to the wall behind us, basic attack, facing her to the wall, basic attack liquidation, facing her back to the next wall, basic attack, basic. You see how much damage we just ramp up over the course of a team fight, right? By just face stingering to a wall. And I just do it as much as I can. Always make sure you get rid of all the blue circuits, next face stinger, get rid of all the blue circuits, next face stinger, get rid of all the blue circuits. It's actually pretty straightforward, but I think it does take a bit more skill to play for sure. Like, it's not necessarily all too easy. Because you do have a lot of micro in it. By micro, I mean how you press your buttons, right? Very important that you press your buttons correctly, that you hit your face stingers towards, that you consistently do it on cooldown. For this ridiculous damage, we crit them 3 times as well, of course. 100% crit rate is very unbalanced, and I don't think that should be in any Pokemon to have a 100% crit chance. Now this time as well, I'm just looking for a basic attack into liquidation. So basic attack, liquidation, Glaceon is dead. Very straightforward. After level 13, you can do this on any speedster, any attacker. Basic attack, liquidation, walk away, and there's a high chance they might be dead. Which is absolutely ridiculous, right? There's no counterplay to it, except for maybe Shedinja Doll or hiding behind an enemy because, yeah. Activating that move right here as well in a second. Actually, facing her back out first. Facing her to the next wall just to get to safety. We see Lucario here. We auto-attack into the liquidation. That I've been doing the entire time. Activating that move here just to see where my opponents are, because I want to win the game right now. Basic attack into liquidation. Glaceon is dead. Basic attacking now with my Unite move up. I'm just basic attacking, waiting for my liquidation to be up, using it on Gudra. Also dead. 4 people are dead, and now it's only the Hooper left. I'm going for my Penta KO right here. Eject money across the wall facing. I really wanted this Penta KO. Basic attack into liquidation, and Hooper's also gone. And there's our Penta KO. He actually almost messed up though in the end. I should have just scored. I auto-attacked the Glaceon with Red Buff, which made him lose his Snow Cloak and turn him unstoppable. And actually this game got kind of close in the end still. I'm dead for 36 seconds. Because I mess up, they're actually going to push this goal right here. And we have to defend the second goal right here. I'm going to try my hardest. Again, face string into wall. Basic attacking, using my liquidation. Face stinger to the next wall. and we just barely win. That was insane. So actually, I'm going to show this again. So just because it's so sad. I wanted to just do basic attack and liquidation to KO the Glaceon, right? But I had red buff on. So the red buff proc the passive, which make Glaceon turn invisible. I press liquidation and it just started going on the Claydol, which make Glaceon live and do so much damage to me as well. So yeah, a bit unfortunate. And we still ended up winning the game though, just barely. 168k damage. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope it's gonna make you better than Inteleon. If it did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!